Welcome back, friends, to another episode of Camp Cinema. Tonight, I'm going to talk about my movie score and soundtracks I have on vinyl. A couple of them are not here. They're actually at my work office because I have a record player in my office, and a few of them are there, so I will give them honorable mentions at the end of the video of the couple that are missing. But we're going to dive right in, and we're going to start off hot with one of my all-time favorites. The classic 1986 Trick or Treat soundtrack. This album is incredible. All done by the legendary Fastway, which if you are a music fan, you know that Fast Eddie Clarke of Motorhead left Motorhead to form Fastway. They put out several albums, including this incredible soundtrack. And what's great is, I've had this since I was a kid. This is not a reissue. This is an original first pressing Trick or Treat album. It is amazing. All of the songs on here, I love all of these. They take me right back to being like 10 years old. Just an absolute blast. This is one of my favorite horror films as well. Totally under the radar, complete B-movie classic, a must-see, and the soundtrack is a must-own or at least listen to. Go search it out. I think it's on Spotify. I think you can hear this soundtrack on Spotify. So if you can, I highly recommend it. Moving on to number 2, which is another all-time classic of my youth and one of my absolute favorite movies and favorite soundtracks, Return of the Living Dead from 1984. Now, I will say, this is a reissue. This is a, probably second, third, fourth, fifth pressing, whatever. And you can actually still go out and get this one. You can find this, I believe, you can get this off Amazon. But I am thrilled to have this in my collection. Of course, Return of the Living Dead is one of my all-time favorite horror films ever. And the soundtrack on here, you have the Cramps, 45 Grave, TOSL, just so many TSOL. It's a little dyslexia for you there. The Damned. There's just so much good music on this soundtrack, and the way that all the punk rock flowed in this movie, it was absolute perfection. And that's hats off to Dan O'Bannon. He took that script and made his film and made it his way, and every choice he made was perfect in my opinion, and that is why it is hailed as one of the greatest zombie movies ever made. Yes, Return of the Living Dead. As I said, I believe this vinyl and soundtrack is available out there, probably even on Amazon. Moving on, now this is a score. And I do have the original, so this is going to be the first honorable mention. I do have the original that is sitting at my work for me to listen to. So here is part 2, the score for Jaws 2. Now, I did get this off of eBay, and this is, I believe, actually a first pressing. And the person selling it was being very, very fair with that. And I wanted it in my collection because while it is not the quality movie, Jaws 2 is not up to the quality of Jaws 1, obviously. The soundtrack is still fantastic. I mean, you can't go wrong with John Williams. It just doesn't matter. So, Jaws 2 soundtrack, fantastic. Really like listening to this when I'm doing a lot of my photo editing and video editing. I'll pop this one on, or the original score for Jaws 1, and I'll sit and just listen to those, all the music on here, and just really dive into my work. I really am a big fan of both of the scores of the original Jaws and Jaws 2. Yes, moving on and to another absolute 80s classic, and I had to have this soundtrack, and I'm so glad to have it in my collection. And that, of course, is going to be Fright Night. This is, in my opinion, besides obviously Lost Boys and besides the Dracula with Gary Oldman, this is probably the best vampire movie ever made. I have to put it on par with Lost Boys for sure. Both of those are very near and dear to my heart. I like both of them very much. Classic 80s vampire movies. I miss those movies. They just don't make movies like that. And if any of you leave a comment about what about Twilight, anywho, Fright Night soundtrack. You have some classic 80s cheese on this soundtrack. I listen to it for the nostalgia element, if you will, to kind of take me back, and when I hear the songs, I think of the scenes in the movies. But no, you know, Autograph isn't exactly one of my favorite bands, and here's Jay Giles Band or April Wine or Devo. I'm born and bred metal fan to the core. But when I want to hear some just good 80s cheese and I want to have those fond memories of a movie that I absolutely love, I throw on the Fright Night soundtrack and it gives me just that. Now, we're going to move into a few new ones that I just picked up. And for some of you, I'm sure you've heard of Waxworks. They do incredible vinyl pressings for tons of movie soundtracks. And I just picked this one up, the Reanimator. The presentation from Waxworks is just, it's fantastic. They really go all out on these vinyls here. As you can see, beautiful gatefold, just, you know, opens up to all this incredible artwork on the inside. Love the presentation. The back has all your tracks listed on it, and then all the vinyls are also colored vinyls. They look spectacular. As I said, Waxworks really goes above and beyond. Look at that. Look at that beautiful Reanimator green for this vinyl. And it sounds fantastic. So I'm a really, really big fan of what Waxworks does with their vinyls. And as they put them out, I do try to pick them up. And I feel that they're priced very accordingly. As I said, this is just a nice collector's edition. If, you know, when you're not listening to it, you can have it sitting out with your Reanimator movie on a shelf. You just have a whole real nice presentation. Waxworks, you definitely should go check them out if you're looking for some horror scores and vinyl. Another Waxworks pickup. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I love Killer Clowns from Outer Space. What a fantastic movie. The Kyoto brothers just did such an amazing job on this. And then, of course, the soundtrack and the score is awesome. Once again, beautiful gatefold presentation that comes on these albums. Waxworks, just hands down, giving you every penny's worth of what you pay for these albums. This is a double album set. Nice artwork on the back as well. The front is definitely my favorite. And then the vinyls themselves are a cotton candy, which is just spectacular. Look at that color on that. Just a fantastic addition to my vinyl collection of movie scores. Really, really pleased to have it. And once again, as I said, you need to go check out Waxworks Records. They have so many of these amazing classic movie scores and soundtracks. I believe they have like all the Friday 13th, and each one has a different amazing artwork on them. Spectacular. Yeah, Waxworks. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. And the last one for tonight that I have at home is one of my all-time favorite scores ever. It is haunting, it is amazing, pure classic, and that is going to be Hellraiser. The score on this is beautiful. I don't know what other word to use other than beautiful. As I said, very haunting and chilling. And when you're just in a mood to maybe sit down next to the fireplace, pour a good whiskey, and just kind of relax and get into a mood, this is my go-to vinyl for that for sure. This is also a gatefold. This does not come from Waxworks. This is just a vinyl. I don't know who actually puts this out. Doesn't say. This is the 30th anniversary though, and I can tell you that I picked this up off of Amazon. So it is completely out there and available for purchase, and it is a very fair price. So if you are looking for an absolute mood piece vinyl that you can just really sit and enjoy and relax to, the Hellraiser vinyl is incredible. As I said, a couple honorable mentions that I am missing because they are sitting at work. I do have the Ghostbusters soundtrack on vinyl, and I do also have, of course, one of the greatest soundtracks to ever be put out on vinyl, and that is going to be the soundtrack for the motion picture The Crow. That came out in, I guess that was 93, 94 when that movie came out, and the way that the music translated into that movie, that was one of those movies that was perfect place, perfect time, perfect soundtrack. So, yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this episode showing my vinyl for scores and soundtracks. I'm a huge, huge music fan. I have, I don't know, well over 100 some vinyls, and most of it is in the heavy metal realm. That's something that I know that maybe doesn't translate to camp cinema, but if in the comments, if you would actually like me to break down my vinyl collection, I would love to do that, because I do have some truly classic first pressing metal albums out there that maybe some of you would enjoy seeing. So I don't know, leave it down in the comments below if you'd like to see that video. I would actually really like to do it. So anyways, as always, thank you so much for coming and checking out my channel. There is a ton of stuff on YouTube to watch, and the fact that you're here, I do truly appreciate it. If you're digging the content, please do give a subscribe. That would be awesome for me, awesome for the channel. And always remember, I am doing this as a passion project. It's just something that I truly love doing. And as always, my friends, most importantly, be kind to one another and stay safe out there. Thanks a lot.